When someone lies, the first thing that shifts is their energy. Their tone becomes slightly controlled, almost rehearsed. Eye contact may become excessive or completely avoidant. This overcorrection is usually driven by fear of being exposed. A truthful person behaves naturally, while a liar measures every word. The conversation feels calculated instead of flowing. That subtle stiffness in presence is often your first silent warning. Liars often provide unnecessary details to make their story sound convincing. They stretch small events into long explanations. However, when asked to repeat the same story later, minor details subtly change. These inconsistencies reveal cognitive strain. Truth is easier to recall because it actually happened. Lies require memory management. The more complex the fabrication, the more cracks begin to appear under pressure. Body language frequently contradicts spoken words. Someone may claim to be calm, yet their hands are clenched, their feet restless, or sweat forms along the neck. The body leaks stress signals the mind cannot fully suppress. When the brain experiences pressure, the nervous system responds automatically. This mismatch between words and posture often exposes what the mouth tries to conceal. When a person repeats your question before answering, they may be buying time. Phrases like, "You're asking where I was?" create a pause that allows them to construct a response. Honest individuals usually respond directly. Delayed repetition often signals mental preparation. That small moment of hesitation is sometimes the difference between recalling truth and manufacturing. Micro-expressions are extremely brief yet powerful indicators. For a fraction of a second, fear, contempt, or anxiety may flash across the face before being masked. These expressions are difficult to control because they originate in the subconscious. If someone's words appear calm, but their face momentarily tightens, pay attention. The body often reveals what the conscious mind tries to hide. Unnecessary defensiveness is another major sign. You may ask a simple question and receive an aggressive reply like, "Why are you accusing me?" This reaction often stems from guilt. Truthful people clarify calmly. Liars tend to attack to redirect attention. Aggression becomes a shield used to block deeper scrutiny. The louder the defense, the more fragile the foundation may be. Emotional disconnect within a story can also signal deception. If an event should logically carry emotional weight but is told in a flat, detached tone, something may be missing. Humans naturally react emotionally to meaningful experiences. When emotional responses appear mismatched or artificial, it suggests either suppression or fabrication. Physical self-soothing gestures frequently increase during deception. Touching the face, rubbing the nose, adjusting clothing, or covering the mouth are subtle stress responses. Lying elevates stress hormones, which can trigger physical discomfort. While one gesture alone proves nothing, repeated patterns during key moments strengthen suspicion. The body attempts to regulate internal tension in small, revealing ways. Excessive emphasis on honesty can also be suspicious. Statements like, "I swear I'm telling the truth," repeated unnecessarily, may indicate insecurity. Truth rarely needs dramatic reinforcement. When someone constantly tries to convince you of their honesty, they may actually be convincing themselves. Overcompensation is often the shadow of internal doubt. Notice response timing. If a simple question results in an unusually long pause, the brain may be calculating consequences. That delay can signal risk assessment and narrative construction. Natural conversations flow smoothly. Fabricated answers feel heavy, structured, and deliberate. Silence in such moments is not emptiness, it is processing. Another strong indicator of deception is over-politeness or sudden behavioral shifts. If someone who is usually casual becomes unusually formal, respectful, or overly agreeable during a sensitive topic, it may signal internal tension. Sudden personality adjustments are often attempts to control perception. When behavior sharply contrasts with baseline personality, pay attention. Authenticity is consistent. Deception often requires performance. Liars frequently avoid direct statements and instead use distancing language. Rather than saying, "I didn't take it," they may say, "That wasn't taken by me." This subtle linguistic shift creates psychological distance from the lie. By removing themselves from the center of the statement, they feel less ownership over the deception. Language patterns reveal internal discomfort more than words themselves. Watch for selective memory. A liar may remember minor, irrelevant details vividly, but claim they cannot recall key facts. This strategic forgetting protects the fabricated story. Real memory loss is usually random, not convenient. When someone's memory fails only around critical points, it suggests avoidance rather than forgetfulness. In deception, clarity appears where it's safe and disappears where it's dangerous. Another sign is over-control of facial expressions. Some individuals try so hard to appear calm that their face becomes unnaturally still. Limited blinking, frozen smiles, or mechanical nodding can indicate conscious regulation. Genuine emotion flows dynamically across the face. When expressions appear rehearsed or delayed, it often reflects mental monitoring rather than authentic feeling. Liars may subtly change the subject when conversation approaches sensitive areas. They redirect attention, introduce humor, or create distractions. This conversational steering is rarely random. It is strategic avoidance. When someone consistently diverts discussion at specific points, the pattern matters more than the individual moment. Avoidance reveals vulnerability. Increased filler words can also signal cognitive strain. Words like basically, or to be honest, may appear more frequently when constructing a lie. The brain requires extra processing time, and filler language buys that time. While nervousness alone can cause fillers, a noticeable spike during certain questions is worth observing carefully. Sometimes, liars project their own behavior onto others. They may accuse you of lying, hiding something, or being suspicious without clear reason. Projection is a psychological defense mechanism. By shifting blame outward, they temporarily relieve internal pressure. When accusations appear disproportionate or unprovoked, they may reflect the accuser's own hidden actions. Pay attention to inconsistent emotional timing. A liar might laugh before delivering serious information or show delayed anger after being confronted. Emotional reactions that arrive too early or too late can indicate rehearsal rather than spontaneity. Authentic emotions align naturally with events. Forced timing feels slightly out of sync, like a delayed echo. Another sign is rigid storytelling. If someone repeats the exact same wording every time they recount an event, it may be memorized. Real memories shift slightly in phrasing because they are recalled, not recited. Overly consistent repetition suggests rehearsal. Precision without natural variation can indicate scripting rather than experience. Liars often minimize their involvement. They downplay actions with phrases like, "It was nothing," or "It's not a big deal." This linguistic softening reduces perceived responsibility. When minimizing consistently appears around specific events, it can signal concealed significance. If something truly had no impact, it would not require deliberate reduction. Another subtle sign of deception is fragmented storytelling. Instead of narrating events in a smooth chronological order, the person jumps back and forth in time. They may skip key transitions or struggle to connect moments logically. Fabricated stories require mental assembly, and under pressure, the structure weakens. Real memories flow more naturally because they are lived experiences, not constructed sequences. Pay attention to unnatural pauses before critical details. A liar may speak fluently about safe parts of the story, but hesitate when approaching sensitive information. That hesitation marks the moment where truth and fabrication intersect. The brain must calculate risk before speaking. These pauses are rarely random. They often guard the most important parts of the narrative. Voice changes can also reveal deception. Pitch may rise slightly due to stress, or speech may become slower and more deliberate. Some individuals begin speaking faster to rush past vulnerable details. These vocal shifts occur because lying activates the stress response.
When tone, pace, or pitch noticeably changes during specific questions, it signals internal imbalance. Overly logical explanations can be another indicator. Liars sometimes build stories that sound technically correct but emotionally hollow. They focus on facts while avoiding feelings. Authentic experiences contain sensory details and emotional reactions. Fabricated ones often sound like reports instead of memories. When a story feels strategically structured rather than naturally remembered, question its foundation. Watch for contradiction between confidence and content. A person may speak boldly yet provide weak evidence. Confidence can be used as a manipulation tool. Many assume that certainty equals truth, but skilled deceivers understand this bias. Strong delivery does not guarantee honesty. Separate how something is said from what is actually being said. Another pattern is delayed outrage. If confronted, a liar may initially stay calm while assessing the situation, then suddenly express exaggerated anger. This staged reaction attempts to shift control of the interaction. Genuine emotions usually emerge immediately. Manufactured emotions often appear calculated and slightly theatrical, designed to intimidate or redirect. Notice if they avoid using "I" when discussing the event. Instead of saying, "I made that decision," they might say, "That decision was made." This distancing language reduces psychological ownership. Removing oneself from the center of responsibility helps lessen internal guilt. The absence of personal accountability within speech can quietly signal avoidance. Sometimes liars provide partial truths. They mix accurate information with false elements to make detection harder. This strategy increases believability because parts of the story can be verified. However, the hidden false segment creates subtle inconsistencies. When certain details are clear while others remain vague or guarded, it may indicate controlled disclosure. Observe physical stillness under pressure. While some liars become restless, others freeze completely to avoid giving away signals. This rigidity is a form of hyper-control. The body becomes tense, movements restricted. Authentic comfort usually includes relaxed motion. Excessive stillness during sensitive moments can reflect internal suppression. A liar may also subtly test your knowledge. They might ask, "Who told you that?" or "Why would you think that?" before answering. This is an information gathering tactic. They want to measure how much you know before adjusting their story. Truthful individuals typically focus on clarifying facts, not assessing threat levels. One powerful sign of deception is emotional exaggeration. A liar may overact innocence, shock, or confusion to appear believable. Their reactions feel slightly amplified, as if performed for an audience. Authentic emotions fluctuate naturally, but exaggerated ones remain intense for too long. When someone tries too hard to sell their reaction, they may be compensating for internal dishonesty. Watch for inconsistent boundaries. A person might refuse to answer certain questions under the excuse of privacy, yet freely share unrelated personal details. This selective openness is strategic. They control information flow to protect specific weak points. When transparency appears random rather than balanced, it often hides something deliberately guarded. Another indicator is narrative polishing. If a story sounds too clean, too structured, and perfectly aligned with logic, it may be edited. Real experiences contain imperfections, small pauses, and scattered memories. Fabricated stories are often rehearsed to eliminate flaws. When an explanation feels like a prepared statement rather than spontaneous recall, caution is justified. Liars may also mirror your emotions excessively. If you appear upset, they instantly match your tone in an exaggerated way. This mirroring is used to build trust and reduce suspicion. While empathy is natural, over-calibrated emotional matching can signal manipulation. Authentic empathy feels fluid. Manipulated empathy feels strategic and slightly calculated. Notice sudden memory clarity when it benefits them. They may claim confusion about key issues, yet suddenly recall sharp details that defend their position. This selective sharpness suggests mental filtering. True memory does not conveniently activate only when self-protection is needed. Strategic clarity is often a sign of constructed defense. Another subtle sign is tension in the jaw or lips. When someone lies, they may press their lips together or tighten facial muscles unconsciously. This micro-tension reflects internal restraint, as if holding something back. These movements are brief but revealing. The face carries stress even when words attempt to remain composed. Liars sometimes create unnecessary witnesses in their story. They may mention other people who were there but cannot be easily contacted or verified. This tactic adds perceived credibility. However, when supporting characters are vague or unreachable, it weakens the foundation. Imaginary reinforcement often replaces solid proof. Pay attention to shifting blame onto circumstances. Instead of accepting responsibility, they might say, "Anyone would have done the same," or "The situation forced me." This diffusion reduces personal accountability. While context matters, repeated avoidance of ownership suggests discomfort with truth. Responsibility is a weight liars often try to redistribute. Another pattern is subtle contempt. Even while denying wrongdoing, a brief smirk or eye roll may appear. Contempt can surface when someone believes they are successfully deceiving you. This micro-expression is difficult to mask. It reveals superiority or hidden satisfaction beneath controlled words. Watch how they react to silence. After answering, if you remain quiet and maintain eye contact, a liar may continue talking to fill the gap. This over-explaining happens because silence creates pressure. Truth can sit calmly in silence. Fabrication often feels the need to keep reinforcing itself. Another revealing sign of deception is controlled breathing. When someone lies, their breathing pattern may subtly change. It can become shallow, faster, or uneven due to internal stress. The nervous system reacts automatically when the brain senses threat. Even if the face remains calm, the chest may rise differently. These small physiological shifts are difficult to fake because they operate beneath conscious control. Watch how someone handles unexpected follow-up questions. If you slightly alter the wording of a previous question, a liar may struggle to maintain consistency. They prepared for one version, not variations. Truth adapts naturally because it is rooted in reality. Fabrication depends on memorization, and memorized narratives weaken when disrupted. Liars often avoid specific sensory details. Real memories include sounds, smells, textures, and atmosphere. Fabricated stories focus on general descriptions. When someone cannot provide natural sensory context but repeats logical facts, it may signal invention. Authentic experiences feel lived in. Lies feel outlined. Notice changes in posture direction. When discussing sensitive topics, a person may subtly angle their body away from you. This physical distancing reflects psychological withdrawal. The body unconsciously seeks escape from discomfort. Even a slight shift in shoulder alignment can signal resistance to the topic at hand. Another indicator is overcommitment. A liar may promise extreme consequences for themselves if they are wrong. "If I'm lying, I'll quit," or "I'd never forgive myself." This dramatic framing attempts to force belief through intensity. Truth does not require theatrical guarantees. Excessive vows often mask insecurity. Pay attention to emotional fatigue. Sustaining deception consumes mental energy. After prolonged discussion, a liar may appear drained, irritable, or impatient. Maintaining a constructed narrative requires constant monitoring. Truth flows with less effort. If someone seems disproportionately exhausted after defending their story, internal strain may be present. Observe consistency between private and public versions of the story. Deception often shifts depending on audience. Details may subtly change when told to different people. Authentic accounts remain stable across contexts. When narrative versions adapt strategically, the motive is usually protection rather than honesty. Another sign is premature reassurance. Before you even express doubt, they may say, "Trust me," or "There's nothing to worry about." This anticipatory defense reveals awareness of suspicion. Truth typically responds to doubt. Lies attempt to preempt it. When reassurance appears before accusation, something triggered it internally. Watch for emotional leakage after the conversation ends. Once they believe scrutiny has passed, their posture may suddenly relax or their tone shift. That visible relief indicates prior tension. The body celebrates perceived safety when deception goes unchallenged. Truth rarely produces that dramatic release. One advanced sign of deception is strategic vulnerability. A liar may confess to a small mistake to distract from a larger hidden truth. This controlled admission builds credibility. By sacrificing a minor fault, they protect a major one. It creates the illusion of transparency. True honesty reveals without calculation. Strategic honesty reveals with purpose. Watch for emotional inversion. Sometimes a liar displays the opposite emotion of what the situation calls for. They may smile during serious discussion or remain calm when outrage would be natural. This mismatch occurs because they are focused on performance rather than genuine reaction. Authentic emotion aligns instinctively with context. Notice if they overanalyze your reaction while speaking. Their eyes may scan your face constantly, measuring belief levels. Instead of recalling events naturally, they monitor you. This attention split between storytelling and evaluation indicates narrative management. Truthful individuals focus on remembering, deceptive individuals focus on convincing. Another sign is controlled timing and disclosure. A liar may release information in fragments instead of presenting it fully. Each piece is calculated based on your response. This staggered communication allows adjustment. When truth exists, it rarely needs strategic pacing. Gradual revelation often signals internal filtering. Pay attention to contradictions between past values and present actions. If someone strongly claimed moral principles before, but now justifies questionable behavior, there may be hidden motives. Sudden flexibility in personal standards can indicate rationalization. Deception often begins with self-justification before it reaches others. Liars may also use excessive logic to override emotion. They frame everything as rational decisions, avoiding how they felt. This intellectual shield creates distance from guilt. Real experiences combine reason and emotion. When someone strips emotion entirely from meaningful events, it may suggest concealment. Watch how they behave when evidence appears. A truthful person welcomes clarification. A liar may attempt to reinterpret proof, minimize its importance, or shift the narrative. Instead of addressing the core issue directly, they redefine the conversation. This reframing protects the constructed version of reality. Another indicator is subtle contempt disguised as confidence. If they believe they have successfully convinced you, their body language may relax into superiority. A slight smirk, raised eyebrow, or dismissive tone can emerge. This fleeting arrogance reveals internal belief in their own manipulation. Notice repetition of rehearsed phrases. Certain lines may appear identical each time sensitive topics arise. These phrases function as defensive anchors. Memorized language provides safety under pressure. Authentic speech varies slightly with context. Scripted speech remains rigid. Sometimes liars create artificial urgency. They push you to make quick decisions or accept explanations immediately. Pressure limits analysis. When someone discourages reflection and demands instant trust, it may be strategic. Truth withstands patience. Deception fears it. Ultimately, the most powerful skill is baseline awareness. Understand how a person behaves when relaxed and truthful. Only then can deviation be recognized accurately. Machiavellian perception is not about suspicion of everyone. It is about calm comparison between pattern and anomaly. When deviation repeats under pressure, deception becomes visible without confrontation.